What's up, people, and welcome back to this ongoing review of Cody Ziglar's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Today, it's issue number 4. And so if you haven't seen my other reactions to the other previous 3 comics, you can check out the playlist right up here in the top corner of your screen. It's all there, really quick, one easy click, and you can just watch the entire thing, sit back, relax, react, get mad, get sad, get happy, and whatever the hell you want. And if you remember from the last issue, you will know that I am very tired. I am sad. I am mad. I am beaten down. And I think it might continue just a little bit with this one here today, people. I don't know how much more I can do this, to be honest with you. But you know what, without further ado, let's just get into it. We pick things up right where we left off in issue number 3, in the middle of that battle of Reneem and Miles. Rabble is still monologuing, and Miles is quipping after getting dusted. Rabble keeps going on about how he's privileged and has had it so easy, and Miles is finding it very hard to take her seriously. And honestly, so am I, because it always felt like Ziglar was building up Reneem to be this sort of sympathetic anti-hero or villain even, make Miles think, and as a consequence, make us think. And all I can think right now is, can we just get to the next part of Miles' story, and even Reneem's, because both these two could use a bit of more justice if we're just being honest about it. But there's some good stuff in this one, so let's get back to the story. Reneem mentions how she's been watching from afar as all of Miles' relationships crumble, and it triggers him. But even as powerful as Miles is, he is still no match for Rabble, and she blows him off the rooftop and into the river. Back at her hideout, you can actually see her talking to her drones. So the whole preternatural ability to fix and figure out what's wrong with machines, yeah, that might have been a little bit underplayed and maybe just overlooked by me, to be completely honest. I might have to take the bullet on that one. But it's not just that she can just figure things out with machines really easily. Reneem has full-blown powers to talk to machines, communicate with them, and even maybe feel their emotions. And this is part of what's happening in this scene here. She's talking to more than just her drones. She's talking to multiple machines, even people's phones and stuff like that. And as she sits back down to rest, Tiana tries to reason with her some more and shows some empathy for her struggles. Tiana actually comes off really good in this, and I really like the way Ziglar's writing her. Gotta hand it to him there. Reneem, while fighting off the pain of talking to too many machines at once, says this line, quote, "My pain has purpose." And I think it's really telling. I'm gonna get to it at the end of the video, so stick with me, but let's keep things moving. Tiana, of course, is not intimidated by Reneem's threats. But then a scorpion tail lowers Genki unconscious into the room, and it looks like Reneem is about to do something terrible to him, before Tiana breaks character with this really out of character line, and then we cut away. And Ziglar keeps doing this. He writes a character well, and then he gives them these weird cheesy lines that are 1980s-esque or 1940s Silver Age superhero type stuff. And yeah, sure, there's always going to be some cheesy, kind of ridiculous lines, I think, in superhero comics and comics in general, right? I think we do kind of accept that, but I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but it feels like it's just such a weird out of character moment for a lot of these characters that are being written here. Then Misty is fishing Miles out of the water to save him, and he catches her up on all the action that she's missed. And you see Miles here starting to crack under the pressure. Despite being beaten to a pulp and barely able to move, he wants to go and save his family and friends. But Misty strongly cautions him against going after them without a plan, because obviously, if he's in no condition to keep himself alive, how can he save them? And he hasn't exactly proven that he can do either against Rabble so far. But Miles is done failing his loved ones. He's willing to die for them, which, by the way, for the record, I feel like I'm going crazy here, but has he not always kind of done that? I feel like this idea that he's failing his people somehow, who are very much in the loop about his second life, are really missing the point here. I feel like they're being really unfair. Weird kind of thing to kind of point out here by Ziglar, but I don't know. Let's just keep moving, because there's actually a lot of good stuff here. So Misty pulls one of Rabble's drones out of the back of her car, knowing it'll go back to its base when charged up. So Misty suggests she tracks it while Miles goes and checks on his parents. The two split up, and we follow Misty and the drone back to the secret base. When she gets there, Tiana and Genki are tied to chairs, but Misty rushes in and can't understand Tiana saying the alarm has motion sensors before she's being attacked. Then we cut back to Miles, who is frantically rushing home, thwipping as fast as he can. But when he gets there, Rabble has already set his home on fire, and the issue ends on a cliffhanger. Okay, so let's just get into my initial thoughts, my initial reactions of this comic. I actually think this was pretty good. I think in general, compared to the last two, it's a big improvement. I mean, it is hard to be much worse than it was in issue 3, like despite the whole Reneen backstory. Other than that, that issue was pretty garbage. It was pretty bad. And it really didn't give me much hope for this one. And yeah, there were some down moments here, but overall, I thought it was good. I think the highlight of this one, as I said, was Tiana. I think her writing is actually really good here. And I think it was kind of nice to see her not just be Miles' edgy girlfriend, because I feel like that's the only light she's ever painted in, and it never allows her to come off good or deep with any meaning. So I think this is definitely an improvement there. What I also hope keeps going is the relationship between Miles and Misty, the mentorship, apprenticeship relationship that Cody Ziglar has hyped up. Honestly, I think he's delivered, and I think he found something here. One thing I'll note, a lot of times when you get these type of relationships in comics, one tends to feel like superior. You know, the guy who's teaching the apprentice tends to feel so superior. You really feel like their bond is growing naturally, and it's getting better and better. I would also say that it does feel like Misty can teach him a few things, because as I've kind of mentioned before, Miles usually gets away with things. He kind of just happens into stuff, and then he figures things out with a Venom Blast because he's way too OP. And in this case, he feels like he's not OP. For the first time, it feels like he's not just gonna luck out, and maybe him and Misty can actually come up with something to beat Rabble, who is clearly just 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of them the whole time. So hope that one continues. And lastly, despite what I'm about to get into, I do think Rabble was a lot better, but I still gotta get into the bad. So let's go back to that scene where Tiana is talking to Reneen and her brain is about to explode. And Tiana says the line, quote, "My pain has purpose," unquote. To me, that line right there encapsulates her character perfectly, both for good and for bad. If you don't really get what I mean, don't worry, I'm gonna explain. We're gonna get a little deep here. We're gonna do a little character study here. So there's this idea in human nature that suffering has to have meaning. We tend to attach our trauma, our pain, to some kind of end goal, essentially. It's kind of like a tortured artist sort of thing, right? Artists sometimes will say that their traumas kind of make their art better, or maybe even make it at all. In this case, I think that's similar to Reneen. Reneen thinks of herself as a hero, and so she's attached all her suffering to this end goal that she has. So in her case, her mother died when she was really young, and then it destroyed her. It destroyed her father. It destroyed her whole family, essentially. And then, with all her gifts, all her talents, she just needs an opportunity that the world is just not giving to her, and rightfully so. I get that. She goes into Brooklyn Visions to get that lottery, and she doesn't come out with it. So now she can't fix herself, she can't fix her family, she can't fix other people that she clearly cares about, and I think that's actually really admirable for such a young person. So in her mind, this can't just be random chance, because if it was, that's pretty grim, right? I mean, that would be pretty terrible. That's like eternal suffering, essentially. And so she's using, or at least in her mind, she's using her pain to drive her forward towards her goal, to get what she wants. Because her suffering has to have meaning. There has to be a goal. There has to be light at the end of the tunnel. There has to be happiness. Otherwise, she is just suffering for no reason at all. At least, I say this with all due respect, and I don't think this is a stretch. Reneen is mentally ill. Like, just point blank period. She is mentally ill. Ultimately, to put it simply, this is copium. Reneen is mentally ill, and she needs help. And this is why she is attaching all this meaning to getting rid of Miles. When you juxtapose her and Miles, they both come from underprivileged, underserved backgrounds. They go into that lottery, and then Miles comes out on top somehow and doesn't use any of those opportunities that would allow her or him to change their lives and maybe change the lives of others. And at least that's how she sees it. She feels like he's doing nothing with his gifts, nothing with his opportunities, where she would do so much. But again, it's just, you know, it's wild, because Miles has had a tough life. Like, she thinks that everything's just working out for him, and in a sense it kind of has, but it's not like he hasn't been through anything. He's been through a lot. And so it's weird that she attaches so much to him. And see, this is the thing, like, despite all that good there, all the little nice pieces of writing there and good development of her, base, her foundation. But you might be sitting there and thinking to yourself, Jeff, don't you think that she's on the right track? I mean, she's almost there. She's got a lot of really good ideas. She's got a lot of talent. She just needs to turn it around. She's a kid, and sure, you're half right, user 18671111, but you're also half wrong. It is good that she's not just wallowing in sadness. That is good that she's trying to better herself and better other people. But again, she gets it so goddamn wrong. Because how the hell can you understand that the system is bad and then take it out on one person, as if one person had any control of this stuff, just like you didn't? Again, obviously she's a kid, but this is a book about fantastic things, where fantastic things happen, and she's supposed to be a really intelligent kid who understands stuff beyond her years, and somehow she misses that? Again, to me, this is the thing. The reality is, Reneen, despite having all that good foundation, is a shitty and weak character. I guess as the reader, I feel super let down. I don't know, maybe you guys feel different, and if you do, please tell me. Let me know what you thought, because I feel like it's just a weird thing to set it up all for it to just collapse like that, for it to just make literally almost no sense where we've ended up here. And I don't know how much longer Cody Ziglar is going to be on this. I personally hope for him and for others that he's going to get more time to develop this sort of thing, but I just don't know, man, because he's got one more issue. He's probably already written it, right? And where is he going to go? How is he going to change things? He's not going to completely rewrite Reneen. I think she's a character, to be honest with you, despite all that I've said, is worth rewriting because she has potential. She just needs a few tweaks here and there, but who knows when they're gonna get to that, man. I mean, I don't know. I just feel let down by this whole run. I got really hyped at the beginning. The very first issue started off so good, and yeah, I don't know, man. But regardless of my opinion, guys, it's an open forum. Let me know what you thought of Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 4 in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see my next reaction video of this and a whole lot more, make sure to check out the playlist at the end of this video to check out the rest of my reaction videos. And if you haven't already, you better be subscribing. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.